Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. It's time to continue on with my liveries of the week. This is going to be episode number 2, so if you haven't already, go ahead and check out episode number 1 for some other amazing liveries. Now I do apologise that I put it on a bit of a break and it didn't turn weekly right away. That was because of obviously the latest update kind of getting in the way and getting out content for that. So if you want a higher chance of your own livery being featured in this series, be sure to use the hashtag above. This way I can kind of filter the search results and have a look at your livery, and well, it maybe even may make the cut. Now in terms of that hashtag, there is a few of these liveries that are featured this week that are part of that one, so a massive shout out to everyone that entered their liveries in. Obviously I couldn't include all of them, and obviously with the latest update and this being the first episode since that update, I did want to include a livery each for the 3 new cars that came with update 1.44. With that being said, let's get into episode 2 of my liveries of the week. Number 1 this week is for one of the new update 1.44 cars, the hero car of the update, the Toyota GT1 or the TS020. This is by Harrow GT and he replicates the GT1 livery from 1998. Now in terms of my favourite of the 3 that he recreated, for me it has to be the number 27 SO Ultron livery. I absolutely adore the 98 livery. It's one of my all-time favourite race car liveries and it's great to see it being recreated in such high detail in Gran Turismo 7, as well as obviously being fantastic to see the TS020 or GT1 actually return in game. I'm having a blast with this car and this is literally my go-to livery. I don't think I'll ever remove it for anything else. As mentioned, he has recreated all 3 of the liveries from the 1998 Le Mans, including all of the numbers and all of the correct sponsors as well. But like I said, for me, number 27, in my opinion, is the most iconic of the 3. I absolutely love it, but if you do want a bit of choice when it comes to your 98 livery, he does have other options available. Like I said, with all 3 of them being recreated. For me, this has to go in for this week. It's absolutely fantastic. So with that being done and out of the way, let's move on to livery number 2 and continue with the theme of the update 1.44 cars. Now this is a livery that has already been featured on the channel. This is by Ghost Dog 02, one of the, I guess, most famous livery designers for Gran Turismo 7, and this is his Lamborghini Urus design. Now he really does have a great theme and style that he puts into every single one of his liveries, and for me this is my favourite of the Lamborghini Urus liveries. It looks absolutely fantastic, and whilst a lot of them are very much replica liveries, this one kind of goes out its way to be perhaps one of the best looking original liveries I've seen in a very long time for Gran Turismo 7. I absolutely love his work and he is fully worth checking out if you do like the look and style that is on this Lamborghini Urus. He pretty much features the same very bold and edgy style on every single one of his designs. So in terms of the livery, it's very reminiscent of the Lamborghini hypercar that is currently running in the WEC. It's got that very kind of bold and bright green with the pink accents, as well as the big dark black parts on the car as well. I think this looks absolutely fantastic. Honestly, I really thought that I'd probably prefer the Lamborghini to be more blacked out and more less in your face, but to be totally honest, this has changed my opinion on it entirely. Whilst I'm not a fan of the original colours that are necessarily available for the Urus, even though this one is very bright and bold and in your face, I think it looks absolutely fantastic. So definitely my favourite of the Lamborghini Urus liveries. So for the final of the update 1.44 cars, we have this one by Kanato R, who makes this ABT XGT 2023 replica livery for the Audi R8. As you can see, with the correct aero on and these amazing colours, it really does stand out without actually being too in your face. For me, it's a nice mix of a simple and sleek look mixed in with some insanely aggressive aero parts. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. This was the one that I stuck on the car day one, and honestly, just a bit like the Toyota, I don't think I'll ever remove it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Clean, but very, very aggressive, just the way I like it. Typically when I see supercars with very aggressive aero added on with the livery, it just looks a little bit off. Sometimes it just looks massively overkill. So for me, with that simple and clean and bold design, this is perhaps one of the better looking supercars in the entire game, and a fantastic looking livery to go ahead with it. So for me, this one is a must if if you do want to check it out, be sure to head over to his page and add this one to your collection. And one thing that I really do like is that the decals and stickers that make up some of the aero parts that aren't necessarily there really do kind of blend in when you see it in replays. It's not to the point where it looks too typically decal-y and you can tell that it's just kind of plastered on. Some of these additional aero parts that are made with the stickers really do stand out and look very, very clean and very, very highly detailed. So yeah, that is the 1.44 cars done and out the way. So let's move on next to something a little bit different. So next we have an official livery by Spoon Sports, who have recreated their 2024 livery for the Honda Civic FL5. This for me is absolutely incredible to see. It's those iconic blue and yellow colours in a very official fashion. This one kind of snuck in around the same time as update 1.45. I mean, I think a couple of hours before the update actually dropped, so I did actually add this to the notes as well, as I think it's absolutely incredible that Spoon have gone out the way with help of Polyphony and gone and put their iconic colour scheme into the game in an official race car that will be running in 2024. This for me is a bit of a hidden gem, and again I absolutely adore those iconic Spoon Sport colours. Another reason I absolutely love this livery is the fact that it's pretty much official from Spoon Sports, and I hope that we see all the other kind of tuning garages and race teams kind of put their own liveries in from these race cars over in Japan that maybe as a Western audience we don't necessarily see too much. I think this is a fantastic idea, and I really do hope it continues as the game goes through its life cycle, and hopefully other companies and other race teams can jump on board as well. For me, the Spoon Sports is an absolute must for the FL5, and it's definitely one that I'm not going to be removing in a rush. So next up, you're going to see a bunch of the user submitted content that you guys sent over using that hashtag I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And whilst there was plenty of fantastic entries, I tried to limit it to kind of one per person per week. However, if you do get a livery featured, that doesn't mean that you might not feature again in the future, if that makes sense. Now the first one that I picked is by Joey B, who does this R92 CP Nismo Retro Cars Mark II, which looks absolutely fantastic. This was the first one that stood out to me this week. I think, in all honesty, when it comes to a period correct livery and one that I could definitely see running, this is, well, right up my alley. I think it looks fantastic. You've got the gold wheels, the black, the red, the sponsors, the Nismo branding. Honestly, it absolutely stood out to me straight away, and it might just be my new favourite livery for the Nissan. Again, one that will probably stay on there for a very, very long time. I absolutely love it, and the attention to detail and the styling on it is right up my alley. So this, for me, was a no-brainer. It had to go in there as my first pick for user-submitted content of the week. As you can see, even on track, it looks very menacing, very period correct, and absolutely beautiful. There is no other words for this, so a massive thank you to Joe for this one. I know he submitted a bunch of amazing liveries, but for me, this was the standout of the bunch. I absolutely love it. Sticking with the Group C era next, we have this one by Debro, who absolutely sent a ton of liveries over, and I think this one for me massively stands out. This is a Lister Storm replica plastered on the Jaguar that ran in Group C, and I never thought I'd say this, and I'm usually not a massive fan of these kind of, you know, road cars getting turned into NASCAR or race cars getting turned into other race cars. However, for me, just seeing those iconic Lister Storm livery in terms of the colours and, you know, all the sponsors and stuff like that, it massively just blew my mind how well it actually worked. So for me, this isn't typically to my personal taste. I don't really like the fact of, you know, people making the Nissan Silvia Group 4 into NASCARs. It just doesn't look right. It always looks really off with the stickers added to the lights and such. But just to see that bright yellow and that beautiful green and those iconic Lister Storm liveries and obviously colour scheme, for me, fantastic. It's a no-brainer. This one had to feature, and if there was any car in Gran Turismo history, it would be the back marker, the Lister Storm, that I would absolutely love to see maybe enter its way into the likes of Group 2. However, for now, this will certainly do. And again, when it comes to the, I guess, look of the Jaguar, I honestly couldn't see it myself that this livery would work, but somehow it just really does. This is absolutely amazing, so a massive thank you for this one. So let's move away next from the Group C machines and go for something a little bit different. We're heading to Group 3 with this livery by Primax, who has this absolutely beautiful Nissan GTR Nismo GT3 race art for the 2013 model, which in my opinion is the best looking of the two GT3 GTRs. As you can see, it looks absolutely clean, very well done, very detailed, without being too in your face. In fact, the first thing that came to mind when I saw this livery, I was reminded of the PlayStation car and the PlayStation GTR with that branding on that ran in the Gran Turismo movie. And for me, this kind of takes that style and that design of being very kind of minimal but very highly detailed and makes it 10 times better. I think this might be one of my personal favorite liveries that I've ever seen for any GTR in Gran Turismo history. And again, he actually managed to make it on the 13 GTR, which in my opinion just looks a 10 times better than the facelifted 2018 model. I really love the bulky design of it, and for me, the lines, the livery and everything about it fits this car absolutely perfect. For me, it's an absolute stunner and a no-brainer, and once again, this one might just end up sticking on this car for a very long time. Another GT3 livery, this time by Marcus Flicks, who has this Need for Speed livery. Now for me, Need for Speed Unleashed and this car way back in the day was absolutely iconic, and it's great to see it recreated in such high detail in Gran Turismo 7. It was a car that I absolutely loved seeing in Unleashed 2 way back when, I think in like 2011 or something like that, so upwards of 13 years ago, and here it is recreated in the present day for the Z4 GT3. For me, this is absolutely amazing. I love the sound of the Z4, the minimal but aggressive livery. Once again, really working with the body lines of this car. And if I'm totally honest, this might be one of my favorite GT3 machines that was ever made. If you've never heard one of these things in person, they are absolutely brutal. Whilst I don't use the Z4 GT3 really as much as I would like to, especially when it comes to competitive daily racing and such, this for me is an absolute no-brainer to stay on this car. It really is an absolutely amazing replica, and I'm glad to see it, and I'm glad to see such care and attention taken to one of my favorite racing liveries of all time. So let's head away from user submitted content. I've got this one by Dr. Doc 2010, which is a Lancer Evo 4 by Mines. This for me is absolutely beautiful. As you can see, it carries over those iconic designs by Mines, the bright white, the strip down the side, the red Mines writing, the Mines, you know, kind of branding all over the car, and puts it on the Lancer Evo 4. For me, this one is absolutely stunning, and the Evo 4 is very underrated. Even by me, I don't use it as probably as much as I should do, but now this has the brand new engine swap as well and is now a much better and more usable vehicle. I can certainly see myself using this one a lot more. It's a non-wide body version as well, which I originally don't necessarily like. I really do like a nice wide body on a car, but it really did kind of change my tune. I honestly think it looks incredible with the right tuning parts on once you've got it sitting low enough as well. I just think it looks absolutely fantastic. For me, it's a no-brainer. It's a Mines livery. It's iconic. The brand is iconic. Their tuned cars are absolutely stunning. And for me, the Evo 4, well, it now has a use for me. So let's head back to Group 3. This time we have Azabir, who has this stunning Castrol Toyota FT1 VGT Group 3 livery. Now this is the white version. He actually has two of these versions available, one in black, one in white, and for me it really does feel like a very modern day take on what is a very iconic livery. We all know Castrol and Toyota go together like bread and butter, and it is an absolute must if you're going to be running this car. And for me, again, this is a car that I've never really used that much in game, but after getting a livery that is just so eye-catching and so well made, I absolutely have to start using this car now. When it comes to designs, very much like GD designs, Azabir has a very typical style of designing his liveries, and I think each and every single one of them are very high detailed and very eye-catching. But for me, this one really caught me by surprise when I saw it. Honestly, again, with it being a car that I don't really use too much, I've never really had a reason to go and get a decent livery for it. But as soon as I saw this, I was like, yep, That's a must. It's a modern take on an iconic classic. And that's going to be it for liveries of the week. Again, I will be bringing this back hopefully next Tuesday, so again in around about 5 days time or so. Massive thank you to all of my channel members. If you do want to enter it, use that hashtag that was listed at the start of the video. I'll be checking through the liveries on the weekend, so if you do have any designs that you want a chance to feature in this video, then please do go ahead and use that hashtag. Massive thank you to everyone featured in this video, and fantastic work from each and every single one of you. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.